We are talking about repeat business. Now, what I'm not going to do today is I'm not going to go into the depths of using CRMs to consistently stay in front of your clients and market to them. I'm not talking about spending a ton of dollars on massive social media programs, none of that. What we're going to talk about is some easy to implement solutions. It's more about process and the way you go about your business day to day that creates an environment that brings people back and creates an environment that has people talking about you, why they go to you, like what's special about you, what makes you stand out, and why do they keep going back to you? And that's really what we want to do today. And that's the sort of business you want to create. Like, the reason I say that is there's a magic number, the 2/3, the 67%, and it's give or take. See, sometimes it's 66, sometimes it's 70, but it's things like 67% of customers, of first-time customers, don't come back because they don't feel valued. That when people come back to buy from you, sorry, it's actually 70% don't come back. 67% when they come back spend 67% more. So if you can get some of that 70% to come back, not only do they come back and buy from you, they buy 2/3 as much as they bought the first time. Happy days, okay? And so we're going to talk about some strategies, some tactics, some ways of doing business, just little things, lots of little things. Implement a few of them, implement all of them. Well, that'd be kind of cute. A couple of them will cost a few dollars, but it's nothing exorbitant. It's certainly not a long-term big dollar marketing spend. It's more about winning people's hearts rather than buying them, okay? And that's a real difference in small business. Been there, done that. It is a little harder, but certainly a lot more profitable to build your repeat business off the back of the way you do business rather than what you're spending your money on. But anyhow, let's get on with it. Happy days. Okay, let's see. There we go. Look at that. All right, customer loyalty. That's what we want. We want customers who come back again and again. And if you want that, you have to do more. You have to exceed their expectations. You want to win their hearts. And as I said earlier, it's not about the money. Okay, you can certainly do it by spending money. That's fine. But let's see if we can put in place some stuff that doesn't cost but pays off. All right. And the reason is that if you're going to do more, you've got to stand out from the crowd. You've got to do more than your competitors. Okay, just providing good service and a good product isn't good enough. Okay, everybody does it. It's the minimum. It's the expectation. It's the customer's right. That's what they should be getting delivered all the time. And if you do that, no one will talk about you because you're just like everybody else. Right? You're probably not like the couple of Muppets that get it wrong, but by and large, you don't stand out. Okay, if you want repeat business, you've got to blow them away. You've got to exceed their expectations. It helps if you know what their expectations are, and that's fine. That's simply a case of asking questions. All right, but for the next, well, not the next 90 minutes, we'll talk about this for about 45 minutes. Okay, about winning people's hearts and doing stuff that keeps people coming back. Okay, it's about process. It's about tactics. All right, and this is the big one. This is the theme of the day. Be the penguin in the duck pond. Now, pretty happy penguin on the screen there, because when you look at all your competitors, when you look at the space you occupy in the world, right? Your business competitors, everybody looks the same. Everyone's a duck. They look the same. They walk the same. They talk the same. They do the same thing. They're all ducks. But if you're a happy little penguin, you stand out, and people will talk about you. They might think you're a little quirky, but that's not a bad thing. Okay, you want people talking about you in a positive way. So, truly memorable customer service and memorable for the right reasons, okay? As I said before, good customer service, good products, that's a minimum, that's a right, that's what they expect, and it is quickly forgotten, all right? Take time to understand your customers, and I don't say that lightly. Nothing that I say today is glib off the cuff. I understand the time pressures involved in small business, okay? But one of the time pressures is the fact that you have to take time to do the stuff that matters, and this is one of the things that matter. Take time to understand them, understand what's important to them, and talk with them about that. It's not ignoring the sale. It's a case of not being focused on the sale. It's a case of being focused on the customer and on what their problem is, and then you fix the problem. Okay, now, I'm assuming through all of this is that you are in business to solve a problem, because if you're not, you just got a job, all right? Figure out what problem it is you're solving and you're halfway there, okay? You do that and you are going to build stronger relationships with your customers, even in fast-moving, low-ticket, high-transaction environments, okay? And a classic example of that is fast food, okay? You look at McDonald's, Hungry Jack's, KFC. They actually have customer loyalty. You wouldn't believe it, given the nature of the product and what they charge and the sheer number of them around. They actually build customer loyalty because they know what the customer wants and they deliver it every time, almost, right? So that's what we're talking about. And they also get bigger ticket sales. Like they expand the wallet because of that loyalty. That uncovers additional opportunities. Right? Now, think about this, okay? We want your customers talking about you, okay? You want them to be telling their mates how good you are and why they do business with you. Right, so think about this. It's everyday habits. This will be the theme all the way through. It's not the money, it's the habit, it's the process, it's the systems, okay? How do you talk with your customers? Not to them or at them, but with them, okay? You actually have discussions with them. Your team have discussions with them. Your uniforms, are they the same as everybody else's or do they stand out? Do they in some way add value to what you do? Okay, you don't have to be the same as everybody else, okay? It's not a requirement, okay? The layout of your store. Now, two things. One, I don't just mean physical store, like your online store. Is it easy to do business with you? I've seen a lot of online stores where it's the customer experience, the user experience is rubbish. It's just so hard to find what you want and to actually buy what you want. You might as well not have the store there because it's costing them money. You're losing sales. Do a test on it. It's like when somebody walks into your store, physical or online, how easy is it for them to find what they want, pay for it, and get back out the door again? Find education. Sorry, the second thing with that is that everything we talk about today applies online and bricks and mortar. Okay, there's no, with everything we're doing today, there's no massive difference. Okay, and especially when it comes to talking with your customers, I'll deal with that a little later in some detail, but it's equally applicable. If you've got e-com, I'm talking to you. Now, client education. What do you provide in the way of client education? Do you teach them how to implement the solution you're offering? Okay, do you give them access to new products? Okay, and that goes to after sales service and after sales support. Once they're bought from you, do you stay in touch? Do you make sure that your solution actually works? Now, this is the big one. All right, vanilla. It's a milkshake flavor. It's ice cream. It's meh, in my opinion. Okay, some people love vanilla. That's great. Get some spice in your life. Stand out. Okay, be memorable. Now, this is key. This is key. Remember I was just talking a second ago about understanding the business you're in? Hairdressing salon, client of ours around the corner, about 1 kilometre away. First lockdown last year, I was struggling a bit, and we actually had a chat about what business they're in. And we came to the realisation that they're not in the haircut, colour, curl business. They're in the business of self-esteem. Because when their customers walked out the door, like, they felt like $1 million. And once we realised that and we got them focused on it and got their staff focused on it, then that actually put their bookings from 5-ish days out to 6 days and 6.5 days. Like, they were working late at night and the product was walking off the shelf, and there's some margin in that, believe me, made some real money. They had people putting jewelry and accessories on consignment with them because their client base was growing, and it was the client base that these manufacturers wanted to target. They started making some real money and putting staff on because they understood the business they were in and they focused on it, right? Make it everything. It needs to be the focus of your recruiting, of your rewarding, of your marketing, of how you do everything is, boom, this is what we're doing. This is what we deliver. This is the business we are in. You focus on that and it makes it easier to develop the habits that bring customers back, right? I'll talk about that right at the end as well. Right. Now, value customers, but their goal, and as I said before, about 70%, okay, and that number fluctuates a little bit, 69, 71, depending on the industry, but it's pretty solid across the board. 70% don't come back because they don't feel valued. Huge opportunity for you, not only with your first-term clients, but picking up other businesses' first-time clients. Diarise to follow up with them, okay? I'll mention this again later, and it's not a sales thing, okay? So much of what I talk about today is not pushing product, it's not sales, it's marketing, subtle difference, but it's education, it's letting them know what you do, it's sharing your information and your knowledge with people, and from that, becomes the buying opportunity for them and the opportunity for you to solve their problems because you've built trust and people buy from people they trust. Okay. Seth Godin, he markets himself as an optimist, but what he's got is a whole lot of smart ideas around customer relations and doing business. Okay. And this is very true. People don't buy goods and services. Okay. Really, they buy the relationship with you. Okay. The joy of doing business with you. Okay. I'm assuming it is joyful to do business with you. Okay. That's what they're there for. Okay. So focus on that. All right. Don't focus on the product. Okay. Nobody cares about your purple widget. All right. Important events. Now, this is not applicable in all businesses, okay? In McDonald's, you would never think about this, okay? People ring you up if they want to have a birthday party with you. You don't have to remind them that the birthday's coming up. But there are a number of businesses where, and it may very well be yours, where you have some clientele who mentioned something that is important to them that you've noted. It could be kid's birthday, it could be their birthday, it could be a business anniversary for them, just something that means enough to them that they mentioned it to you. Cool, they've mentioned it to you, it means something to them, record it, okay? Get yourself a CRM, get yourself a free CRM. All the big guys have got free versions at the bottom that you can put reminders into and use for some basic email follow-up, okay? Chase them up, handwritten card, something that is memorable that lets them know that you're thinking about them. It's not a sales thing, it's a marketing relationship thing, okay? It's very simple, it's amazingly powerful. Have a crack. And this is one of the couple of things where you're going to spend a couple of dollars. It's not a big investment, but it's an important investment. Now, product knowledge. Just come back one slide for a sec. First, access to new product lines. Product knowledge, same, okay? It's all about trust. It's about bringing them into the team and educating them on what your solution does, how to implement it, how it's going to solve their problems, and what's coming up in the future that may solve problems that they will run into in the future. Okay. Now, look at this is don't assume that they know everything about your product or your service, about how to utilize it, and don't assume they know nothing. All right. It's a delicate line, but just tiptoe through and make sure that they know that you're valuing them, that you're not going to lecture them and you're not going to assume they know everything. You're simply trying to find out where the gaps in knowledge are so you can fill it, and away they go. You get it right and you're building advocates. You're building people who will go out and basically market your business for you for free. Now, that's pretty cool. All right, that's a great outcome. That's what we're aiming to get at. This is a really powerful way of doing it. Don't assume they know everything. Take the time to educate them on what your solution does and how it changes their world, okay? Part of this whole strategy of education is having events where you're just rewarding your VIPs, okay? The people who come back again and again, put them down for them. Bring somebody in from industry to have a chat about what's going on, you know, one of your suppliers. Bring them in to have a chat about what's going on in the industry, what's coming down the track, what developments they see. Just a free event that they can come up to, meet people in their own industry to network with, just a way of saying you value them, right? It's not a sales thing. It's not a building new customer thing. It's rewarding the people who do business with you, okay? You do that and they'll advocate for you, all right? It's not something everybody does. You will stand out. You'll be that penguin. One thing, when you're sending out the invites, I don't care how you send them out. Email, Facebook, carrier pigeon, makes no difference to me. But when you're reminding people that it's on, use text. SMS is king. It has the highest engagement rate out of all the communication methods when it comes to this sort of stuff. Emails get overlooked. We get bombarded with emails. And there's a good chance yours will go to spam if you're really unlucky. Facebook Messenger is also good. Instagram Messenger is another one. Use if you're going to use those platforms, make sure your clients are on them. But number one is text. All right, so start building that text database, start automating it, and away you go. Now, mentioned this before, when you have new product lines come out, if you've got advance notice, let your VIP customers know this is coming down the track. Give them first access. Okay? Now, banks are really bad for doing the reverse of this. They give all the really cool discounts and the new products to buy business to their new customers. All right, so the people who've been with them for years, the loyal guys, get nothing. All right, do the reverse of that, right? Because that doesn't buy, with the banks, that doesn't build loyalty, that builds resentment. Right? Do it the other way around. The guys who've been with you for ages, they get the cool new toys. Okay, it's a reward. Give people an incentive to stay with you, reward them for staying with you, and you've got that loyalty. It's a two-way street. Okay, they'll feel valued. With this approach, this whole giving them first access, bringing them in to meet suppliers, talking to them about how your solution changes their world, make sure your questioning is simple. All right, make sure they understand. And it's simply paraphrasing, just talking backwards and forwards, making sure that they know that you know that they know, that everybody understands you're all on the same page. With your educational material, video is king. All right, now that's no secret. I'm certainly no guru in pointing that out. Okay. With your video, a couple of things. One, when you're distributing it, like post it on your website, use your YouTube channel, use LinkedIn, use Facebook, Insta video, look, TikTok. I don't care what you use, provided it's the channel that your clients use. If I'm trying to reach out to the 14-year-olds who need to know everything that I'm talking about, I'm not going to use LinkedIn. I'm not going to use Facebook. It's just simply not going to reach them. Okay, they're not on those platforms. So think about where your clients are and use that platform. Now, on the bottom there, video is a very powerful sales tool. Okay, and again, that's no secret. That's not my wisdom. That's just what I've observed over the last few years. Let me give you an example of how good it is. All right? And I tell this story often for two reasons. One, it's true, and two, it's a great story. It's just so appropriate. Okay, another client of mine. Okay, first met him just before first lockdown last year. So that'd be about March last year, 2020. And talking at a business breakfast, talking about this sort of stuff. I mentioned video, and he was kind of keen, but look, the guy's shy. He's got he polishes floors, so he's a floor sander. Okay, finishes off timber floors. That's his business. Pretty good at it too, by the way. And he loved the idea of doing video, but like he just went, let's not, in front of the camera. Oh my God, no, not him. I said, mate, look, chill. One, you're perfect for it, okay? Because video works best when it's real, when it's not scripted, it's not rehearsed, when it's just real, it's relatable. People believe it, they trust it, and people do business with people they trust. Okay, so as an idea, like he had an iPhone, so great, they've got a great camera in them, you'll be fine. Why don't you just do a before and after video? Like just the room you're going to do, talk about the floor, like what sort of dead tree it's made from, what you're going to do, what you're going to finish it off with, and then come back once it's done and spend another 30 seconds talking about how it's finished off, get some close-ups, let people know, how the job turned out. Okay, just keep the videos down to a minute each. That's all you need to do. No more than a minute, or people won't watch it. They'll simply lose interest. Less than a minute, yeah, but you've got a message to get across. So about that 60 seconds, you'll be fine. Try to do it in one take. Like all the videos, just about all the videos I do are one take. Okay, and if there's mistakes in it, that's fine because that's real. Okay, it's believable. So when he did his first video, he was working about 5 days a week ish, give or take. And he did one video, and he just did what we suggested. Like he literally did a room before and after, and his bookings lifted a little bit. And he did a couple of those, and suddenly he's working 6-ish days a week because people are watching it and they're going, "Hey, this guy's not bad." There's no sales pitch in these videos, by the way, none. It's just him before and after. This is what I do. And then he made a huge mistake, big mistake. He bought this dustless floor sanding, vacuum cleaning thing from Italy. Now, when I think about having floors polished and sanded, I'm thinking sawdust everywhere. You got to cover the furniture, open the windows. It's just a nightmare. Vacuum the place for a week afterwards. He bought this and he just showed the floor, said, "This is what we're going to do. This thing is dustless. It is that good." And then he set the camera up on a tripod and actually videoed from the back of the room, videoed him sanding this floor, like backwards and forwards and diagonals and all over the place. And there's no dust. Like great lighting, you could see there was no dust. This little sander sucked like you would not believe. Amazing. And he went from 5 or 6 days a week to 7 days a week solid for 6 months. He stopped doing videos. He basically didn't have the time. He got somebody in to give him a hand and he was still working. He actually was turning business away and just basically turned the books off so he'd have a break at Christmas time. Ridiculous. Made good money, but geez, he was working. And I caught up with him just before Christmas last year. We had a bit of a chat about how it went. And he he said the video was the best thing ever. Okay, it really transformed his business from doing okay to doing really well and putting people on to work for him. It is that powerful, ladies and gentlemen. If you keep it real, you just don't make it salesy. It's a marketing tool, and what you're doing is you're marketing your expertise. You're showing people who you are and what you do and why they want to do business with you. Right? It's informational. It doesn't cost you a cent to do. Okay, your smartphone, your iPhone, your Android, whatever you've got, it'll be good enough to do it. Okay, put them out there, keep it real, and watch the results. Okay, if you're going to do one thing, if you're just going to do one thing out of all this, this is the one. Okay, and this is the two. Okay, sorry, this one. Okay, solve their problem. I spoke about it earlier in that don't be salesy. Okay, don't push the sale. Just talking to people and figure out what it is they need and then fix it. And this is exactly it. Okay, you want to simply. Hang on. Let's just go back there. You're there to solve their problem. Okay, like it's a case of figuring out what it is they really require, and then put that to them. Okay, it doesn't have to be pinstripe. Like the whole cross sell thing, the whole upsell thing. Don't go there. Okay, upsell is a long-term relationship killer. You might make an extra couple of dollars today, but you won't make them in the future because people hate being sold to. It might have worked 10 years ago. I know it was a big tactic with banks and insurance companies right back in, especially in the 90s and the early 2000s, is that whole upsell, upsell, upsell. And make them sticky, give them more share of wallet. Solve the problem and make sure that you fix the legitimate need. And if you discover more problems, then fine, they're legitimate, you can solve them, okay? If there's more stuff they need, that's great. It doesn't have to be pinstriped. It doesn't need air conditioning. It certainly doesn't need 4 power windows, okay? You do that, you're buying loyalty, okay? By not punching out and chasing that extra couple of dollars, you'll get the bigger returns down the track. And that's what we're talking about today is long-term value. People who advocate for your business because you stand out. You are the right person to do business with. Okay, so what's going on here? Free judgment. There we go. Now, we've all done it from time to time. I'll take 30 seconds on this. Don't do it. Okay, I had a young team in one of my businesses, and I'll tell you what, people walked in and they would be very judgy based on clothing, the way they spoke, the way they smelt, what they were drinking, everything. We stamped that out pretty quick because it costs sales. Okay, everybody walks in, just take a breath, count to 3, fix the problem. Okay, go back one slide. We're problem solvers. That's what we're there for. Listen to them, talk with them, figure out what the problem is. They're there talking to us because they've got a problem that we can fix. Cool. Figure out what it is, fix it, and do it in a way that they enjoy. And then they'll come back and do it again in the future, which is why we're there. Okay, don't prejudge. Right, and this is why, okay? Everybody wants to feel that they're important, okay? Now, Mary Kay Ash, in case you don't know, massive cosmetics business in the States. It's a multi-level marketing thing. Don't care about that. What I do care about, the fact is that she's got massive turnover because this is one of her mantras, make people feel important. You do that with your sales teams, with your own business, and you'll see the rewards, okay? It's a simple thing to implement. Okay, not necessarily all that easy because not everybody has a great day and sometimes you struggle, but that's where you want to be at. Okay, now I was speaking earlier about post-sales, all right, about making people feel important. Post-purchase regret is a real thing. Now, it's not always something that you can implement because not everybody has a business where it's that sort of big ticket item that once every few months, once a year, once every 5 years type purchases, right? If you're at McDonald's, there is very little post-purchase regret because no one gets sick from Macca's. I mean, literally, you couldn't kill that food with a stick. But if you're in something like white goods or you're dealing in a service, accounting, legal, okay, architect, that sort of stuff, don't forget to chase up people. Once they're bought from you, okay, you fix their problem, ring them the next day or a couple of days later and just make sure that the solution actually worked. If they've got issues, fix them. Okay, don't wait for them to get in touch with you with problems. Just touch base, make sure it's all good to go. Right? It's a small thing. It takes focus. It takes, it's got to be part of your habits. Okay, but you do this and you win. because most of your competitors don't. It's as simple as that, okay? It's showing you the customer you value them. It's building that trust factor because you made the effort to contact them to make sure that it worked, right? And people do business with people they trust, okay? Now, the other thing about trust, if you don't know the answer, just say so, okay? And I've had this with teams in the past. I've done it myself. People have asked a question of us and we've gone, I actually don't know the answer to that. Like, I don't think we've got the product or the service that solves that problem. Give me a second, I'll check, but I'm pretty sure we don't, but don't go away. Check, sure enough, we can't fix it, but we know somebody who might be able to. Refer them off. You're not going to get the sale, but that doesn't matter because you weren't going to get the sale anyway because you couldn't fix the problem. And if you tried, it would have been counterproductive. Send them off. Don't forget to follow them up and make sure that your referral actually worked, because that shows you care, that you value them, that you trust them to actually come back to you in the future when you might be able to do business with them. You're building that value, you're building that long-term relationship. And even if you didn't get the sale then, what you'll get is somebody who will tell their mates that, hey, listen, I went here, they couldn't fix it, but geez, I'll tell you what, they sent me to somebody who could, and then they cared enough to follow up and make sure that the referral worked. Long-term value, ladies and gentlemen, building that trust, building that reputation, being the penguin, okay? It's like a mantra, we are the penguin, okay? You want to stand out for the right reasons. And that's why, because we love our customers. You can pinch that slide if you can when you download it. You'll get sent the recording later. Use it to your heart's content, because that is where we're at. Now, be consistent. Systems and processes are the foundation. Actually, I spoke about this last week with cash flow management and with a business mindset. Now, everything we talk about today, you need to make it into a process. When you find something that works, something that is repeatable, that brings joy to your customers, systemize it. You will always get a team member who is simply a bit of a star and has a way of doing business that works, okay? In the past, I've been that team member. In the past, I've had people around me who've been that person, and I've simply looked at what they did and gone, yep, I can do that. I can make that work, and that will work with my clients. So I made it part of my systems, right? Part of the everyday process, the way I did business, right? Don't miss that opportunity. When you see something that is just absolutely Mickey Mouse and works beautifully, grab it, work with it, okay? So that you can give that excellent customer service for every customer, every time. And that's what we're aiming at. Not saying we're going to hit it, but if you don't aim at it, you're not going to hit it, okay? Consistent experience. Now, emotions matter. Nobody cares about your product. I'll just digress for 1 second here on this theme. Nobody cares about your purple left-handed widget. They really don't. What they care about is what your purple left-handed widget will do for them, how it solves their problem. So think about this, the emotion of doing business. How do you want them to feel when they walk into your business? How do you want them to feel when they walk out of your business? Okay, they've got the widget, it's going to solve their problem. How are they feeling about that? How can you engender that experience for them? Okay, just work it out. Ask them if you're stuck, ask them, they'll tell you. Okay, especially if they're not feeling too happy about it, they'll let you know, which gives you something to work on, something to fix and improve. Okay, make it a recurring event. Simple as that. Okay, and this is why, like feedback, this is how you do it. Okay, it's the key to customer experience. Now, don't rely on Google reviews. They are pervasive. You can't get away from them. That's fine. You need a system to deal with them where you're checking them each day and you are simply responding to each review with a thank you or well, that's a bit sad, that's how you feel, that's what's happened, and then you come up with a solution. If I might suggest, the positive reviews deserve a thank you. Somebody's gone to the effort of putting up a positive review, and then reward them. So, build that loyalty. Somebody goes to the effort of putting up a negative review, deal with it, engage, disengage. It's not an opportunity for a year-long discussion about who was right. It is an opportunity to take on board their point of view. If there's a legitimate problem, fix it and let them know that it's been fixed. If it is something that cannot be fixed, let them know why not, and then disengage and move on, okay? Think about putting in place an independent review system. Trustpilot, Yotpo are two of the good ones that actually engage the client and ask for the review and ask for it in a way that gives you useful information, Okay. It's a good way of getting feedback, and it's a good way of promoting how good a business you've got when you start racking up those 5-star reviews. Now, the key is being consistent with the process. Okay. It doesn't really matter, to me at least, which system you take on board. Okay. But you need to be consistent with the process, and particularly with dealing with negative reviews. Oh, check for fake reviews. We've all heard about fake reviews. They're not a new thing. Businesses like Removify deal with them for you. If you can't get rid of them, they'll go to Google and smack them out of the park, right? But you need to get onto them because they are business killers, all right? We all know that. So again, it's process, it's consistency. Just another thing to do. Now, simple is plan A. I'm a huge fan of simple. Okay, I like to keep things simple because I'm not a terribly complicated person, and complex things just make me really annoyed. However, we live in a very complex world. Oh, don't do that. There we go. We live in a very complex world. If you can make things simple, if you just make a little bit of effort and commitment to simplify things, it will transform your business and can give you market leadership. Now, I've got a note there on the slide. Now, hello, iPhone. That's actually a reminder to me to talk about the iPhone. You look at iPhone, you look at smartphones, but in particular, look at iPhone, which was really the first smartphone. There's a lot of complex devices in the iPhone. You've got your camera, you've got your phone, you've got your contacts list, you've got your browser. Very complex gear. The phone itself is a very complex bit of gear. The interface is simple. How cool is that? Market leadership. It was simple to use. Now, iPhone don't have the bulk of the market. Doesn't matter. They're market leaders because when they do something, people try and copy them. And when you buy an iPhone, you are paying a premium because they have customer loyalty, because they make it nice and simple. They've got that ecosystem. All that making it easy for the customer. Okay? Can you take stuff out of your processes? Can you get rid of some jargon and make it plain English? Is your written material actually easy to understand? And it's not always about taking out and stripping back. Sometimes it's about putting more in. To make things easy for the customer. Now, the classic example is right here. Okay, I've got 2 studio lights. Okay, they are the things that are making me look like a supermodel. Okay, they're worth every dollar I spent on them. The trick with those is when they've turned up in a box, they're in about, I don't know, well, they're in about 7 pieces. Now, wife and I have opened the box up. Now, I'm a smart guy, more or less. She's smarter than I am. And we've put this stuff together in the past, and we've looked at it. We looked at the instruction booklet, and seriously, here. Okay, 1, little Samsung phone. The instruction booklet was a piece of paper, smaller than this, with 3 panels of pictures on both sides. So it's got 6 little pictures on something smaller than a Samsung. The pictures kind of looked like the parts in the box. The words made no sense whatsoever. And we've looked at it. It took us 10 minutes to put together one light. Ridiculous. It took us 3 minutes for the next one because we actually knew what we were doing. It was frustrating, like really. And honestly, if I'm buying new lights, I will talk to people. I'll say, listen, if you're considering this brand of light, be very careful. Be aware the instructions aren't instructions. They're just a general guide to something you might want to do on a Saturday when you've got half a day free. Right? They could have made the piece of paper twice the size. It might have cost them an extra 1 cent per light or 5 cents. They could have just made it so much better by putting more in. But they try to simplify it and destroy the process entirely. So think about simple from the customer's point of view. What makes it easy for them to implement your solution? Okay, we're rocking along very nicely here. Okay, now this simple thought, know when to stop talking. This is my one bugbear. Okay, you ask anybody who has done business with me in the past 30 years, ask any of my friends, it's sometimes I just do not shut up. The line there, my parents used to say to me, 1 mouth, 2 ears, use them in that proportion, mate, please. Okay, it's a 70-30 rule, right? And the reason is that in that genuine drive, and we've all got it, that genuine drive, that excitement, we want to solve the problem, is that talking too much can be fatal. Okay, you can literally talk people into and out of the sale in the same breath, okay? And I've done that in the past. I'm talking from very bitter personal experience here where I've just talked people out of doing business with us because I just talk too much. Okay, we just lost the sale. Like we had the solution, we had the relationship, but it's sort of blah, 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 and they're gone. Okay, it's the 30-70 rule. 30% talk, 70% listen, and of your 30% talk, a little bit at the start, open them up, right? Like I say, open-ended questions. Okay, tell me what, why, when, how, what's going on here, and then zip it. Let them talk. Let them tell you what their problem is. And then at the end of it, okay, now you come back and you paraphrase, you make sure that they know that you understand what the problem is and that you've got the solution, okay? Train your teams that way, take it on board, and the relationship, that interface, will be much smoother. Now, we spoke a little bit earlier about reviews. Now, complaints. Complaints are actually an opportunity in my mind. Right? Now, noting that only 4% of Australians will actually complain to your face. And from where I'm at, that's brilliant. I love it if they do that, because I know that A, it's only 4% of Australians. So it's a very small percentage of people we do business with. They're actually going to come to my face and complain, but they're outside their comfort zone. They've actually made an effort to come up and talk to me about something that's gone wrong. So it's really important to them. So from where I stand, that is a huge opportunity to A, fix something that's wrong in the business if it's a legitimate problem, and B, build long-term customer loyalty, because I'm going to take the time to sit down and sort it out for them personally. I'm not going to delegate it, I'm going to fix it. Okay, and that's how you do it. Now, one of our teams and one business we had basically every issue landed on my desk. Okay, cool, young team, some of them new to the game, that's fine. But all of those things on my desk, most of them could have been solved out there with the sales force. Right? Really not my problem. They could have fixed it, but they didn't feel that they didn't feel they had the authority to do so. They weren't sure. So we sat down, had a chat, said, okay, guys, here's the sandbox. Right? This is a little sandpit you can play in. You can fix all these sort of problems. You can spend this much money. You can do these sort of refunds. I'll back you 100% if you stay within these parameters. All right? I don't want to see these issues. You fix them. All right? You can do it. I trust you. There's that trust word again. And a couple of things happened. One, my desk was a lot cleaner because I had a lot less drama on it. Funny that. Two, we had happier customers, which is kind of weird, but they were happier because when they came in with a problem or a complaint, it got dealt with by the person they were talking to on the spot. It wasn't I'll have to refer you to the boss, or sorry, the manager's out, or I can't help you there, or I'll take a note and get back to you. None of that deferral, or it's not my problem. They fixed it on the spot. People were happy, okay? They got valued. Valued customers come back, spend more, okay? Good tactic. Third thing that happened, staff were happier because they had some authority to fix stuff. And because they had authority to fix stuff, they were happier. And because they were happier, they made less mistakes. Even though they were a little bit more adventurous and felt they could make mistakes, they made less. It's almost counterintuitive. We'll talk about it in a second about happy in the workplace. But it was such a win for such a small thing. It cost me a few dollars. Like I had to spend some money on some refunds and stuff. But geez, the payoff, unbelievable. All right, so think about your complaints policy, about how you deal with them, about what your staff can actually do, how far you're prepared to trust them, and what impact that'll have on your business. All right, because this sort of stuff is a lot cheaper than having a dissatisfied customer yapping out in the marketplace. All right, you want the happy guys talking about the really cool stuff about why they do business with you. All right, that's the whole point of this. Now, spoke a little bit earlier about this, so I'll just breeze through this one. It's about making sure you understand what your customer is saying. Okay, and not just making sure you understand, but making sure that they know you understand. All right, it's just paraphrasing, just making sure if they've got any trigger words in there, like those emotional words, they're frustrated, they're disillusioned, they're angry, they're concerned, they're not happy. Make sure that you deal with that and you let them know that you understand that they're frustrated and that this is what the problem is. And so when you provide the solution, it's the real solution and they take it on board. Okay, it's all about valuing the customer. All right? Again and again and again, we've got to value them and show them and let them know we value them. Right? That's the big thing. It's not enough to value them. They've got to understand that you do. Okay, and this is one of the easiest ways of doing it. Right, costs you nothing, and the payoff is immense. Now, this I kind of spoke about it earlier, but just remember that nobody gives a rip about your product or your service. They don't care. They really don't care about your purple left-handed widget. What they care about and what is really interesting to them is what it'll do for them and how it'll fix their problems. So when you're talking with your customers, you're not talking about the wonderful purple paint and the particular shade that was designed in Milan last year to reflect the light in a certain way, because 9 times out of 10, they don't care. What they care about is what their purple painted light reflecting widget will do for them. And that's what we talk about. Okay. It's about the solution. It's always about the solution. You need to be solution focused. It's not about the product or the service. Okay. Simple things. And the reason I mention that, and the reason I'm kind of hammering it a little bit, is that if you are anything like me and a lot of my clients, is that we kind of get focused a little bit on what we do, all right, on the thing rather than the outcome, because it's just human nature. We're kind of in love with our business a little bit, and you know, it's all about the U-butte suspension ball joint we've just designed. Customer, you know, they don't really care about that. What they care about is the fact that the way it articulates means there's less wear on the actual shock absorbers, the dampeners and the springs, and on the tires, so they get more life out of them. So their maintenance cost goes down, and that's the problem you're trying to fix. So that's what we're going to talk about, right? It's the maintenance costs. It's not about the process of designing the super new ball joint, all right? Subtle distinction, very important distinction. Now, talking about value in customers and about trust, right? Trust, trust, trust. Explain your secret sauce. If I go into McDonald's and they explain to me the recipe that makes their Big Mac so delicious, that's an idea. I'm not about to go out and start making Big Macs myself, but they've trusted me enough to tell me. So I'm kind of part of the Macca's Club, all right? And people want to belong to things. It's human nature. They want to be part of the team. Like, look at state of origin, okay? And if you're a Queenslander, like most people in Queensland, you're kind of not feeling that great about it at the moment because you've got that belonging, that loyalty. And that's what state of origin trades off. That's why it's such a great marketing tool, is it's got that tribalness about it. That's what drives it, okay? Because people want to belong. So this is a great way to share your knowledge, okay? It will create a point of difference with your competitors, okay? Because not many people do this, right? And you're bringing your customers into the club, okay? They're feeling that inclusiveness. As soon as they're included, it gives them a story to share. Oh, hang on, a story to share. So they're going to be like kind of advocates for you. Yay, unpaid marketing team. That's the whole point of the exercise, okay? Give them a story to tell, give them a way they can advocate for your business so you get more customers and they remain loyal. Happy days. Okay, make them smile, humor. It does a number of things, okay? It will build relationships with people. It'll break down barriers, and it is remembered, okay? We live in a pretty serious world, so a bit of humor goes a long way in the workplace. That interaction at the front counter, it gives them a story to tell, okay? Even if dad jokes are truly bad, and I say that from personal experience because I have 405,000 of the worst dad jokes in the world, and I'm not afraid to share them. It just makes you stand out a little bit, okay? Customers walk out of a business happy. They will remember you for the right reasons. That's why the penguin's happy, because he knows he's in a duck pond, which means he stands out, and he's a happy penguin, so he's standing out for the right reasons, okay? I would share a dad joke, but then the video would probably get heavily censored, so maybe not. And happy place, this is the other side of it. Happy on one side of the counter, happy on the inside of the counter. I spoke about it earlier with customer complaints, okay? Happy team. There are a number of studies which prove this, okay? It's not just my personal experience. This is an industry-wide thing, okay? It's been proven time and again. Happy staff are more productive. They're not afraid to make mistakes, and counterintuitively, they make less mistakes because they're happy. They can take less sick leave. They don't complain as much. They simply get on with the job. They make better decisions. Probably why they make less mistakes. They learn faster. That's pretty cool, okay? I love that one, right? You provide that happy environment, it'll be noticed. Like, people in your business, they wonder why all the staff are happy. It's not typical. It's not normal. Have a crack at it, all right? Just think about what you can do in the workplace to lift that enjoyment level, and then the results will flow, okay? We know that. We've seen it in our own businesses. We've seen it in studies across the world. Happy pays the bills, right? Don't let the opportunity slide, please. Be genuine. In case you haven't figured it out, what you see today is what you get pretty much every time, okay? I'm just me, okay? I don't have a game face. I don't have a business persona. Tried that when I was a kid. Doesn't work for two reasons. One is it's very hard to keep up, okay? And sooner or later, people will realize that the person they spoke to yesterday is not the person they're speaking to today, despite the fact that it's the same person. So you sort of destroying that trust a little bit because you're looking a bit fake. And it's just not me. Like, it doesn't work for people, okay? Treat people the way you want to be treated. Like, deal with them as yourself, Like, be honest. And that way, you're building that trust. People do business with people they trust. Okay, it's that easy. Okay, so let your personality loose a little bit. I do tend to keep a leash on mine slightly, like refer back bad jokes. Okay, I try and rein that back a little bit. It's not always the right time, right place, but I'm always me. I don't have a game face, and people I do business with don't. Okay, I know that when I see them socially, that it's the same person. You see them at a networking event, it's the same person. Like, they don't change, they don't turn it on, turn it off. They're legitimate, and that's why we do business, because they're genuine. I trust them. Okay, that trust thing. Now, speaking about the phone, okay, now if you get the reference to an old Telstra ad, then you're probably as old as I am, right? A lot of interaction over phone these days, you're going through IVRs, okay, filter, 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 filter before you hit a real person. A couple of suggestions. One is, with those filters, make them as real as you possibly can, because that's your client interaction. That's their first interaction with you. When you hit a real person, spark it up, focus, smile, get your head out of the computer for 2 seconds to answer the phone. Now, be brave with the tagline. Now, I know you can't always do that, but we are not BHP, right? We're not super corporates. We're a small business. Okay, so spark it up. Have some courage. Secondly, if you're using chatbots, okay, and I've been speaking with some guys who build these things, and they are amazingly smart, and they're at the point now where they can communicate pretty much however you want them to communicate, like that style of communication. So spark it up. Make your chatbots talk like you do. If you want to hang with that, now my contact details are at the last slide. If you want some advice on that, you want a hand with that side of your business, get in touch. We've got the people on tap who do that, and they are super smart. The chatbots are really, really good now. Okay, it's enthusiasm. It's making sure that first point of contact with a customer is a little bit of magic. Okay, because that's what you want. You want them to, you want to impress, you want to be different, you want to stand out, you want to be the penguin. Okay. Now, handwritten notes, and this builds that client connection. I mentioned it. I mentioned it earlier. We live in a very impersonal world. If you're going to get in touch with your clients, those anniversaries, those special events, have a crack with a handwritten note. Okay, it's going to cost you a couple of dollars. I'm not pretending that's free, but they get a handwritten note in the mail that they can see has been actually written with a pen, like a real, not printed fake signature thing. That's different. That stands out. Very few people do it. You will rock them for 5 minutes. They will feel like part of the team. You've got your client advocacy starting to happen, because they'll tell people about that. They literally do. Okay, that I got this in the mail. You wouldn't believe it. I remember my birthday. They actually wrote it out. It wasn't just some pre-printed automated email message thing. It was like real, with a stamp envelope in the mail card. Who does that? You do that, and that's why you stand out. Now, your business network, we've all got them. And I don't know that everybody utilizes them to the extent they can. It comes back to what I said earlier, where if you can't solve the problem, have the courage to say so and see if you can help them solve it elsewhere. Okay, because often you know who can help. If you're going to do that, put in place a framework. Now, I have a little black book, and I call it little because I only have a couple of people in each category, because these are people I trust and I have a relationship with, and we have an arrangement whereby if I refer somebody, they get treated a certain way, and if something goes sideways, I find out from the person I've referred them to, not from the client. Okay, I do not want somebody coming back to me having a crack at me because somebody I referred them to stuffed it up. I want to hear that from the person I referred them to, so I'm pre-armed. Okay, I know what's coming. Right, no surprises. Now, this is a simple thing, okay? And yet it's another way of building trust. And people do business with people they trust, okay? It's simply a matter of including people in your team. Now, discounting as a way of building sales, in my opinion, is a bad idea, because not only are you giving discounts to your existing customers, you're giving them to everybody. You're not rewarding people for being long-term customers. Put in place, if this is where you want to go, if you want to use this thing as a sales strategy, it's a way of building turnover, go the rewards line. It's not a new thing by any stretch of the imagination. We all know that. But it's a way of rewarding loyalty and protecting your bottom line at the same time. Okay? Just be careful that you don't trigger a change in buying habits, okay? Because that's what discounts can do. And I'll give you an example of that as to why I think the whole discount thing is a bad idea. and to be careful with the way you use rewards programs. Okay, like a lot of people, I have a supermarket rewards card. And every now and then I get emails saying that if I spend a certain amount this week or a certain amount for a number of weeks, I'll get this many rewards points, which is worth, in my mind, X dollars, because it is. Now, two things. One is that when that program is available, I'm very careful when I shop in terms of how much of a dollar. If they want me to spend $140 for 2 weeks, okay, fair enough. But I'm not spending I'm not spending money simply to get to $140. Okay, sometimes we pre-buy stuff. And if you look at our shopping patterns, it might creep up a little bit in those weeks, but then in the following weeks, it drops right off because we've stocked up to make sure we hit their targets. So what we did was we changed our buying patterns to get the discounts. So effectively, the supermarket has really made no money out of us, of anybody, with that particular program. Okay, I'm happy. Okay, no dramas here. So just be aware, if you're going to do this, that people will change their buying habits to match your discounts. So go for rewards programs. That long-term loyalty, okay, is what you're after. That's what we're chasing. Now, this is why I mentioned earlier on about knowing what business you're in, embracing it and making it the core of everything you do. Because changing habits is tough. Okay, breaking habits and making new habits is bloody hard. It really is. So you need something to focus on. You need to decide on what your brand is and what it's known for. You need to make it the focus of everything you're doing. Make it the framework that you make decisions within. Just makes it easy. If you get your team focused on it and they know that's what you're evaluating their performance by, and that's why you're making these changes, then that makes implementing the changes and making them stick that much easier, okay? So hang on, did I miss one there? Oh, I did too, sorry. Going back to team, all right, I'm sorry to jump around a little bit. It's a very tricky keyboard today. I mentioned earlier talking about your secret sauce. Don't be afraid to be the go-to person in your industry, okay? Like, you know what you do. You're in business because you're good at what you do, okay? You're no mug. So don't be afraid to share your expertise and to put your hand up and say, yeah, we are the good guys in the business. Okay. If you look at the ASBAS program that Business Station delivers, you look at the advisors there, they're pretty much all guns. Like, they're gurus. There's some very, very smart people there who really know their stuff. And we're not afraid to say so, which is why we're here talking to you. Okay, so you do that, you share your knowledge and your information with your clients, you're going to build that trust. Right? If you let them know how they can maximize the service or product that you're supplying them, how they can get the best out of it, rather than just hand it over the counter, take their money and walk away. You give them that information, they will trust you, right? If you demonstrate your expertise and you share it with them, you're building trust. And out of that comes long-term value because, yes, people do business with people they trust, okay? That's where we're at. That's what you want. That's what we're trying to build, is that foundation, that long-term foundation for your business, that long-term value. Okay, so figure out what it is you stand for, figure out what it is you deliver, and make it the core of everything you do. Now, there's my details. Thanks very much, as I said, to Business Station, RDA Brisbane, and to AusIndustry, who are paying for all this, delivering this program for you. This is all about them. That's my details. You got any questions? Anything specific to your business you want to discuss, you want some help, some advice, a quick few pointers, get in touch. The email works, the phone works. I'll definitely reply to you. No dramas there. Happy to chat. And then that just about wraps us up. Thank you very much for attending. Look forward to chatting to you soon. And hopefully you get something today that works really well for you.